synthetic molecules that are mimicking natural molecules so that we don't have to like harvest these as much from nature. Photonics is the study of the interaction of light and matter, things like lasers, optical devices like cameras, and also telecommunications. Structural biology is looking at a lot of the structures inside of our cells, things like proteins, a lot about how that shape and their form creates their function. Neuroscience, more about looking at the science of our brain, but also the science, our researchers are looking a lot about the interactions of the environment on our neurology, but also on mental health as well. And then up into environmental science, where we're looking more at there's a big focus on urban environment at our research initiative, looking at things from soils to water to air quality, and then also into more sensing and data, which is a project that we're working on with some youth and community groups as well. So again, with this idea of doing science for the public good, I mentioned how we have, through our outreach and community programs, we have this emphasis of creating more reciprocal relationships. So not just outreach to go out and educate people about science and try to get them involved, but also like bringing the voices of community folks into the science research environment to really inform what kind of work should be done and how do we really craft like the next generation of science based on a more humanist approach. So like what's actually going to be relevant for our communities. And also just like another feature, since being part of the CUNY system, we have that representation, demographic representation of New York City, and where many of our students are the community. And so elevating the voices of their experience and the work that they're doing and bringing that back to the places where they're coming from. So it's not like removing the students, putting them in Ivy League schools, and suddenly they become disconnected from the places that they came from. So some of these programs we're starting to try to umbrella under what we're calling the Illumination Space Hub. And this has been an effort with some of my colleagues who also do a lot of science communication programming. So we're actually both doing outreach and youth programs, but we're also training the scientists how to communicate and how to talk to the local public. So starting with our Illumination Space Youth Classroom, we have a whole immersive visitor center that I'll show you a slide on, where we run mostly field trips through that space. We also have our Science Communication Academy. I mentioned that is more training for graduate students and faculty. The Community Sensor Lab is our participatory research program where we're building do-it-yourself environmental sensors. I'll get more into that. And we're also now doing more community night programming where we have just sort of open house with different focuses for families or for other speakers that may come in to talk about specific topics such as mindfulness and neuroscience, which we did a whole series on last spring. I'm gonna go a little quicker here. So we've got in-person field trips. I'll talk more about our sensor lab. We also do pop-up and open streets where we just set up tables, have activities. We have some high school research programs, and we also have a teacher residency program. This is some pictures of our actual physical visitor center inside the research. So this is located on the first floor of the research center. So it serves as our little interactive interface for folks to come get an introduction to some of the key research ideas that's happening at the center. So there's an exhibit for each of the floors. Our field trips are 2-hour experiences. They're designed mostly for middle through college age students. They get to about 20 minutes in the space, and then we have a guest scientist, typically a graduate student, who does a career talk, talks about their journey, their experience in STEM, and then we go on tours of the research labs, which are, the whole research center is designed to be very, like, it's kind of like a zoo where you can like look into like big glass windows and it's like, these are the scientists in their natural environment using their pipettes and so forth. So this program has been running since 2018. And some stats on that, we have I'll just go through this. We've reached about 1,500 students across the city from all 5 boroughs. And now that Gigi's come on as full-time, she's helped to double our field trip exposure. So we're now hitting up to 600 students per year. 77% of those participants are from underrepresented groups. I will say, though, that we don't have a significantly high representation from CB9 or 10. So that's something that we really haven't completed. That's the word I'm looking for. We also do lots of different teacher trainings. We've worked with like Math for America and other professional development programs to do trainings for teachers, and now have our own teacher residency program as well. And we do lots of trainings for faculty and volunteers. Pictures from other like pop-ups and festivals. We usually do the Harlem STEM Festival. Although I don't think it happened last year. I don't know if you guys know about that. That happens in the Armory, usually happens at the 365 Armory.
Last year. It did? It seemed really small scale if it did.
Last year, it's usually in May.
Well, I think it was the District 6.
Okay. We'll get into that.
And so some of the things coming forward in the future are that this space, which is now, it was designed in 2015 and has been running since 2018, is kind of up for reimagining of what this space could be. And it was all designed before my time, and so I kind of inherited it, and now looking at what the potential for it could be. We could really rebuild it in a lot of capacity, and I'm hoping for it to be more of this multi-use educational and community venue space. But I want to get more input from community, from schools, from teachers, from families of what would be really valuable for us to have on the City College campus in a scientific research institute that can be accessible to the community. Like, what do we need? What's going to be really impactful? And so there's different ideas that we've been running around with, but what would like to do like more conversations in some capacity to gain interest or ideas. But basically, I think it could be more of an incubator space for artists and scientists in collaborations, and also to be more of a portal for data and sensing. That we've been doing a lot of local data, like environmental data collection and building sensor. Oh yeah, I brought one of my sensors. And learning more about like data literacy, because that's a big hot topic right now, and AI, but also just STEM education in general, and immersive technology and media kind of thing. So we have like, there's already some technology in there, but there's like ways that we can really expand on that. And forgive me if I don't know where my time is at. I just want to, so this is just an example of what we build in our community sensor lab. So this is a whole do-it-yourself environmental sensing program. You can pass that around, where it's basically like a robotics program, but instead of building a little robot that does some trick, we build an environmental sensor. So they're learning about hardware and software and environmental science while building something that they can locally deploy at their house or in their neighborhood to collect data. So these can measure particulate matter, which is like one of the big indicators of air pollution. And it's a particle that can be very like dangerous for your respiratory system. And additionally, it can measure pressure, temperature, humidity, volatile organics, which is another dangerous chemicals or gas that can be in the air, along with carbon dioxide, which indoor is a good indicator of ventilation. So this is a program we've built with, during the pandemic, a community partner in Red Hook, Brooklyn, because they were really concerned with the air quality due to the last mile warehouse that was being built down there. So we designed a whole curriculum to train people in their workforce development program how to build these sensors. Through the preliminary data and the education through that, they were able to apply for an EPA grant. And now they have like EPA grade sensors in their neighborhood that to track this deployment of the trucking industry down there. So we're trying to build this kind of innovative community training program where it was an intergenerational program. So we had students, high school students, all the way through folks who were 50 years old that came to learn how to build these and learn more about technology and also data literacy. So the idea is, again, that we want to also train these trainers so they learn the curriculum, and then they run workshops in their own community and become educators on this scale. So this is a program that is really taking off, and we want to expand it more to have more of a Harlem-based cohort as well. And there's a lot of like workforce development components built into that in terms of skill building. We learn things like soldering, again, programming, building these different aspects and working with data in different ways. And I'll share links at the end, and we have all of the materials for building these are also open source, so you can find them online. Other things, and we'll hand out some flyers and share, I won't spend too much, but we also have community nights every month that are open houses. We've got a City of Forest event and a Halloween event this month that we'll share links for. We also, as I mentioned, we did this neuroscience and community series last year, so we're hoping to do that again in the spring as well. We also have our STEM teacher residencies, so that we had 3 teachers in our cohort last year, hoping to have the same in the spring, where we work with them to develop curriculum based on interdisciplinary science and to connect them with researchers and get research experience. And then, so generally, this is kind of the getting to the end. Want to just wrap it up by saying, you know, the resources we have many of these youth and adult STEM literacy programs. We also have a lot of curriculum resources for teachers on our website, and we'll be having more soon, where we have all these entry points. I might have not mentioned in our field trips, we really emphasize students getting connected with CUNY and getting familiar with the CUNY system and all the majors and how to apply. So really trying to, again, highlight and lift up this opportunity of getting into CUNY. And then there's this access to cutting edge scientific research, instrumentation, and also expertise, which we're really trying to figure out, like, how much more can we leverage that with our local community, and like, what do people want to learn about? You know, we have, again, the kind of like really vast breadth of information and science that's happening. And sometimes it's harder to make the connections to everyday life between stuff that's happening in basic research on a lab bench, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And we also have venue space. So we've got a big auditorium that fits 100 people. We have multiple conference rooms and small seminar rooms and a cafe space where we can host events. And particularly, we're looking to sponsor local community organizations who may want to have meetings or other functions in the space there.
We will have one there. I was gonna say that. We have a space.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take care.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
Definitely. And so the needs that we have is we're really looking to, again, connect more with the local schools and get the information of our programming out there, get them connected with our field trip program, our teacher residency program. We did have one middle school teacher from what's the name? New Horizons? New Design middle school last year. But definitely want to connect more with 161, A. Philip Randolph, the School for Mathematics and Science and just anybody. So we're either schools that already have strong STEM programs and want to connect with us, or the ones that don't have any resources and need them.
Middle school, elementary, or high school?
Middle, high school.
Middle,
Yeah.
College age.
Yeah.
Kendra, I want to open up the floor to questions.
Please.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, so I have questions, of course, but does anyone online or in person have additional questions for Kendra and team? All right, Lydia, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. your
Yeah,
question.
can you hear me?
Hi, Lydia, yes, we can.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there, tested positive for COVID. Any rate, you know, I worked at CCNY for many years, and actually in CUNY for almost 40, and I retired a year and a half ago. I just wanted to ask, you said something that piqued my interest about also combining artists with scientists. Did I misunderstand what you said in your presentation?
No, that I have a big interest in doing that. We did kind of a little pilot where we had a like art gallery exhibit on one of our floors pre-COVID times. But I mean, my whole family is artists, so I definitely have hopes to try to connect more. And I have a theater back. I went to LaGuardia High School too as a theater major.
Oh,
So
I went to music and art, which turned into LaGuardia. But you know, there's a wonderful magazine that is science-based, but I don't know if you've ever heard of this, Nautilus, and it combines science, you've heard of it, it's wonderful. It's just so important to, when you're giving kids STEM, that they also know how important all these other things are, because this is, you know, the way people see the world they're in through their art, their philosophy, their history, so that you don't create something if you go amongst them as an engineer or as a scientist, and they'll regret that you ever came upon them. I also dealt a lot with the engineering students at City College, and we used to talk about that. I said, it's very important that you have this incredible syncretic background where you're including all of man's expression, of which science is part of it. So anyway, it's
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, we have lots of art STEAM, and Gigi's background is in design, so we do a lot of arts and crafts through all of the activities that we've developed.
That's very cool. Did you see there's a note in the chat for you from Margot from George Bruce, right, library? So you already got one networking opportunity there.
Yay!
Yeah, I
And
just wanted to add that, like, we do monthly or bi-monthly art programs, and we also cross-post information about exactly what you're offering. So please send us info so we can push it forward.
Will do. Thank you, Marta.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, you mentioned about connecting with April and Randall, but they're on your campus there.
I know, we've
It's
had,
been difficult?
yeah, we have not been able to get a person. And also, like, we also have a strain, you know, because we're on the campus, CCNY campus, but we don't have any direct CCNY affiliation. So it's also all this
Okay.
strange, just communication channels that we're figuring out.
I mean, I visited most schools in this area, multiple times just to drop off flyers and say hello and stuff, but, you know, teachers are very busy. And they have a lot to do, and also, like, most of the time I'm not able to actually make a connection directly with them.
And we have like most of all of the principals, assistant principals, and then even from what we could find of contacts of STEM teachers or math teachers at the schools are on our mailing lists. But, you know, or I've reached out to them in the past years to try to connect directly, but I think it gets lost in the sauce.
Go ahead, Mary.
So school, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
You have to get a principal's attention and the teacher's attention, you have to time it, like when the tests are happening, the beginning of the school year, like you're not gonna get them in September, you're not, if you're planning on something to do the following year, you need to talk to them the year before. Look at the time their budgets were released,
Usually April.
you wanna talk to them in January for after-school programs. And you wanna get into the PTAs. You also need to talk to the community education councils.
Yeah, this is a new thing to me.
So you wanna support Community Board 9, we're 2 school districts. We're Community Board, we're School District 5 and 6,
yeah.
predominantly 6. Not too many high schools or middle schools. It's a very limited amount. We're mostly elementary schools, but that is kind of how you go. Go to the district office for the for the district. Every district has one, and there speak with the community. Every district has like a DOE representative that is a community associate to do all these partnerships.
Great.
I can connect you with District
You need
6.
to know what I didn't know.
I was on CEC, and that's, you know, it's all about timing with the schools because they're so busy and distracted that if you don't get them at the right time, you're just not gonna, they don't have the time, they don't have the resources and the
Yeah.
power to like
Right.
pick up every,
Exactly, yeah.
and they may need it, but unless it's
They've
like
been able to
put in
plan for
front
it,
of
yeah.
them, it's sometimes, you know, hard to get their attention.
Great.
So
Thank you for that.
We'll do our best to connect you with all the councils and stuff.
So for your field trips, is it that they come and spend the day, or is it just a few hours?
It's 2 hours in the morning, typically 10 to noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And that
What
includes
is the tour? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that includes a tour.
So that includes a tour. So I'm thinking about, what about like summer programming, like where kids are in rides or something like that? And if they could spend a day, is that something that you would consider?
Yeah, definitely. And I saw that Christy from Heath is here, and we did a week-long program with Heath in the middle school 2 summers ago.
Okay.
And right now we're in that like capacity jump where we're like, we want to do more, but we need to sort of get a little bit more funding to have more staff capacity to do those extra programming. So that's sort of where we're like starting to grow a little bit, but like, you know,
Yeah, it's limiting, yeah.
I love that last comment because I think it ties into the issue of timing, but also what you're offering is something that doesn't translate well on paper. Like you need to come and see it,
Yeah.
and feel it and experience it. So the idea of like summer immersion where school groups get excited and then come back in September for more and
Yeah.
continue the relationship throughout the school year.
and we still do the field trips in the summer as well. So we get mostly like summer camps that come through in the summer. So
One last one. No, you mentioned intergenerational. This, and clearly I'm getting very close to the silver years and I'm very on this. I also work with the Department of Aging on the silver program, which is a workforce development. And I actually, today I just taught digital literacy to a room full of 55 and older people. I cannot tell you how urgent this is right now to teach seniors digital, and not seniors. I'm 55, to teach people 55 and over, 50 and over digital literacy, which isn't how to use a computer, but AI, how to discern what's real, what's not, how to even build things. We have so many skilled adults in New York City, or former, artists, people in tech. And I mean, I don't know if there's a workforce development component. I would love to connect with you because we do offer training to seniors. It's a federal program, an AmeriCorps program that we put seniors like in volunteer positions, but also try to find them work. But I can't tell you, do not underestimate the need to educate adults in technology and science right now on composting. Like everyone wants the kids. Everyone wants the kids. The kids are teched out. They can teach us.
Yeah.
They can teach us, but adults need composting. Like composting just became mandatory, and we mentioned it at our last executive meeting that the city's providing this again, but really educating people on why it's important to compost, what other countries are doing.
Yes.
It's not just about rolling it out, but why are we doing this? Like, what's the connection to our health?
yeah,
And
and
to the
climate
planet.
change.
Yeah,
and all those
climate
things,
change,
yeah.
like,
And
I
how
feel
it's beneficial.
adults literally need that
Yeah.
right now.
Also, though, you know what you didn't say, but you kind of said, is that when you educate them, then when the teens come around with their initiatives, it makes it easier for them to understand what they're even talking about, to give them a time of day. Because if they haven't been exposed to it before, they're not paying it any attention. We go around, just like you said, you go into the schools and you're handing out this stuff. It's not something that you can deal with right now. And if you don't have the bandwidth for it, you
Mhm.
haven't been exposed to, you don't know what you're talking about.
Doesn't sink in.
You kind of,
land,
you kind of block it out. So
They hand out the
This
information,
is
you're right, in
useful in more
schools,
than one
but adults don't understand it, so it's like, oh, whatever.
yeah, and that would
we
be
need
a great
it.
idea.
We need it, and I'm hearing it from adults, like, we do cohorts every month, and they eat up the Chat GPT class, like, they
Yeah.
love it, like teaching them that, they're like, oh my God,
But not just that, as the working age rises, this is the way to keep them employed. Because if you are not able to keep up with technology, you won't be able to stay employed at some
Well,
point.
I heard an interesting statistic, by 2030, 20% of the population of New York is gonna be over 50.
I'm not surprised.
20%.
I will find it as well. So,
So it's by 2030. So the technology, the gap is kind of,
uh-huh.
it's getting wider.
And that's kind of connected. I have just this one slide about a grant that we're looking into with the National Science Foundation that is kind of moving towards creating more programming around this, again, with data and sensors. So as kind of like a bigger umbrella to do teaching on generally technology and science with an intergenerational audiences. And again, sort of redesigning the space that we have to be more of like a teaching space and being able to highlight like all of these different concepts in there as well. So that's something that we're kind of in the process of to get some funding to expand
That would be great.
a lot of these
Exciting.
programming.
It's
So
exciting.
About the kids, and the small scale,
Yeah.
the young kids that.
That's how Hypothesis started, actually.
oh yeah, I know
Right.
Marisa. Yeah. So some of their high school students were in our summer program this year.
I'm glad that you collaborated.
Yeah.
Do you want to pass those out?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Kendra, we could talk to you all day, obviously, but we do have to
Amazing.
move on the
Thank
meeting.
you.
We
Thank
have
you for the
other
time.
things to cover.
Wow.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much for finally, we've been trying to have
Yeah.
Kendra at the meeting for like, when was that, May or
It was
June?
May I
And
first
then-
came and then I was, yeah.
so I'm so glad, but please do not be a stranger. Feel
No,
free to come back, keep us
I'll be here,
updated,
yeah.
and if you want to make another presentation, just email us, we'll put you on the agenda.
Great,
All right,
great.
thank you so much.
Yeah, at some point I'll come back to talk more about the grant because I would love to like see if there's a way that.
I want to share some information about who we can connect with. Okay.
And thank you for all your guys' help.
You guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, my coach can get here, so everyone can say hello or not, it's fine, but just so everybody's aware, everybody sign in. If you did, please do, if your guests are signing together, and members, make sure you sign in. And let's move on down to figure skating Harlem, so I told Jazz, I said, her face is so familiar, she used to work with, Senator for her class, so I'm like, no wonder I know her face. Hi, Jazz, yes, unmute yourself, you need us to make you a co-host?
Yes, I'm gonna send a request right now.
Oh,
Let me know if you got it.
yeah, I've never seen that one, all right. Jazz, the floor is yours, thank you so much for your patience, and go for it.
Problem. Thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here. She said I used to work for City Council, not quite Cordell Clare, but Kristen Richardson Jordan, District 9. So I'm a Harlemite, fourth generation Harlemite. I love Harlem. You know, I love being in my community. So I'm really glad that I get to be in this space now, doing development and communications for this program called Figure Skating in Harlem. So they've been around since I was born. It's crazy, 1997, right? So I'm 27 now. We are the first and only organization serving low-income girls of color from Harlem and the Bronx, ages 6 to 18. We combine the artistic sport of figure skating with the power of education. So our vision is to not only bridge the gap for women of color in the sport of figure skating, but also in the workplace as well. And we do this by providing different youth development programs throughout the school year, throughout the summer. We have about four different programs. The one for the entire school year is called ICE, I Can Excel. This is an after-school program, and what's really great about this after-school program is that you can use it as a supplemental after-school program, which means that your child can actually be in an after-school program and still come to our program because we do not meet every single day. The girls are on the ice 2 or 3 times a week, and then they come for academic enrichment classes and tutoring classes once or twice a week. And so you can either have your child in our program by itself, or you can have your child in another after-school program and use it as a supplemental after-school program. And I think that's a really great option, especially for parents who are like, well, I already have my child in something, you know, this is a great option for that. So that's our school year program. We have Winter Dreams, which meets once a week throughout the November to March months, and it's a feeder program. It's for those girls who might not want to make the commitment for a whole school year after school program, but just want to get on the ice. Then we have our Summer Dreams program, which is for our younger girls, and this runs from July and August throughout the summer. And then in 2023, we initiated our Pipeline to Power for our alumni and our graduates that we have, and we have over 1,500 alumni right now. And so one of our alumni, I don't know if you guys have heard of her. Her name is Flonan Gala. She was the first Black woman ever to shoot the Met Gala, and she just shot Kamala Harris last month. And so we have some amazing alumni coming from our program. Like I said, we've been around since 1997. And I think right now, as we are going into 2025, we really want to make sure that our presence is known in our community, that our community members know this amazing opportunity that's for the girls. Figure skating is a super, super expensive sport, you guys. I mean, training is maybe $100 an hour or more. And so we're trying to make this really accessible for these young girls who might not have the opportunities to get on the ice if they weren't in this program. I'm almost done. I won't keep you guys too long. So our programs, it consists of academic enrichment, tutoring, college and career prep. We also do career week, career panels, and one-to-one guidance meetings. Last summer, we had an amazing career week. We went to Estee Lauder, and our girls did a workshop, a cosmetic making workshop where they got to make their own lip glosses, and then they also got to experience different types of career channels that's in Estee Lauder. It was a really great experience for them to actually go downtown to the offices and see what's going on down there, and also get an insight as to career paths that they might not have seen beforehand. We also, I wanted to highlight that this summer, all of our vendors and community members that we brought in to teach our girls were Black women entrepreneurs, including myself. They also hired me to come and teach mental wellness for the girls. I have a mental wellness company called Moho Dance. And so figure skating in Harlem definitely strives to engage their community members, not just themselves, but also uplifting the Black and brown women entrepreneurs that are in the community. So we had Moho Dance, we had V's Hair Shop come and teach the girls how to take care of their hair. I'm telling you guys, as a young Black woman who went to a PWI for high school and college, hair was a big thing, okay? And it's you want to make sure that you are know how to present yourself, you know what to do with your hair. And so we had these girls, V's Hair Shop, come in and do a workshop on entrepreneurship, but also be hands-on and literally teach the girls how to work with their own hair. We also visited Avril. I don't know if you guys ever been to Avril, but it's a Black-owned women's gelato shop over on around 147th and Morningside. And our girls were able to go there for the entire day and go in the back offices and make gelato and try some gelato and bring some home. So that's just a little snippet about our career week, because we pride ourselves on putting education first. 100% of our students advanced to the next grade level, and 88% of our students this past year maintained a B average or higher. So that's just some of our education. Sorry. You guys can tell I have a kid because of the ads that came on. I'll stop sharing my screen. But
Able to watch them.
some of the that was our education, but we also have a great skating component. And so our girls have skating experience, competition, and performance opportunities. So what you guys just watched just now was our ice show from last year. It was There's No Place Like Home. Our girls performed 20 pieces on the ice in front of 1,200 friends and family members. And all 20 pieces were taken from The Wiz, The Wizard of Oz, and the new musical that just came on Broadway this past summer. And so if you guys have some time, I'll send you guys the link. You can go on YouTube, you can watch it. Their full entire show is there, but I also created a sizzle reel for you guys. And then I'm almost done. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but some highlights from last year was our first ever cultural exchange trip. So some of our girls were able to go to South Africa with Laureate Sports for Goods in the Now 9 Miles project. And there they were able to partner with other girls and teach them how to skate, and they learned how to surf. And it was a great cultural exchange partnership with the 9 Miles project. And then this past fall, those girls actually came to New York as a reciprocating event. And so our girls were able to show them the Apollo, they were able to take them to Sylvia's, and they were able to take them to some ice rinks that we have in Harlem as well. And then our girls also were invited this past year to perform at the National Exhibition in Columbus, Ohio. That was televised nationally on NBC. So if you guys have some time to watch that, definitely check it out. And we're super, super excited because while we were in South Africa and as we were doing our Summer Dreams program last year, we were being followed by Imagine filmed, and our Disney Plus docuseries will be coming out early this fall 2025. And so we really want to connect with our community, make sure you guys know who we are, and make sure that we are connecting with as much community organizations as possible before this docuseries comes out, because we want to highlight you guys as well. All right. So I thank you guys for your time, and we thank WHDC as we were grantees for this past year. And you guys are helping us provide this wonderful program for our young girls. We provided 41 young girls from Community District 9 this past year. And so we hope to amp that number up in 2025, and we really couldn't do it without your support. So I'm going to open it up for any questions.
Thank you so much, Dad. That was amazing. I always love to see the girls on the ice. It's really, and if
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you muted yourself. Hello?
it's tricky on that. I'm so sorry. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for letting me know, no sound. Does anyone have any questions online for Jazz? All right, thank you so much, Jazz. Please send us your form when you get a moment. It's always a pleasure to see someone from figure skating in Harlem. I still have my daughter's my favorite skater jacket from like a decade ago. So she's a proud what do you call a graduate of the program. So we really appreciate you. Yeah, it's a really wonderful program. I have nothing but good things to say. So keep up the good work.
I already have, my daughter is turning a year next week, and she's already ready for the ice, okay? She already has the onesie, like I'm so ready. So,
Well, you know what? The earlier you get them on there before the fear sets in of like falling, because you see the little kids, they're not scared of falling. It's the bigger kids. They're like, oh, can I do this? Little kids will go. So the sooner you get on the ice, the better. Go for it.
thank you so much.
Jazz. Hi, Jazz. I'm sorry. I had a question for you.
Yes.
Hi, so my name is Chrissy Martinez and I work at the Harlem Educational Activities Fund. I think the work that figure skating in Harlem is doing is beautiful. It's amazing, especially seeing the girls in Riverbank. I grew up skating at Riverbank, so it was definitely a full circle moment. My question is whether or not the girls have a performance schedule so that maybe we can bring our students to ever see them perform or just watch them on the ice, because I think that would be something really motivational for them.
Of course. So I'm gonna get your contact information, but our
Okay.
ice show, we have an annual ice show. It's every March. And so this year is
Okay.
March 22nd and 23rd. And so
Okay.
I can definitely send you guys the invitation. And then we also have this winter skating party in February where people are allowed like to come and skate with us. And we
Okay.
have like last year we had 1,000 people, like friends and family, come. And so like you can actually come and we can teach you how to skate during our winter skating party. So if you have any kids who are like kind of hesitant, that's
Yeah.
a perfect time. And then in
Okay.
March, they can come and see our ice show. And this year's ice show is going to be prominent women of color in the media.
Okay, that sounds amazing. That's perfect. So yeah, we'll share contact information and I would definitely bring the kids around to that because that would be amazing. We had a skating event with them recently and we had a lot of them that didn't really want to go on the ice. They were nervous. So I feel like that would be a great opportunity for them to kind of get that exposure. So yeah, let's get in contact.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you.
See, that's what I love about these meetings, all the networking, everybody talking, sharing information. This is fantastic, guys. Keep it up because this is how we build a stronger community. So thank you for that. All right, we're gonna move on if no other questions. All right, Rachel, I don't see, is Rachel online? Oh, yes, I do see Rachel from the New York City Urban Debate League. Rachel, please feel free to unmute yourself. The floor is yours. Let us know if you need co-host abilities.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ariel. My coworker is going to be presenting.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I think, yes, I'm able to share. Hello, everyone. My name is Ariel. I'm one of the employees here at the New York City Urban Debate League. I'm also a proud alum of this program, coming back 10 years later after experiencing this program for myself. So super happy to be back and involved in this partnership. So a little bit about who we are. We like to ground ourselves in our mission here at the New York City Urban Debate League, which is here up in the top. We create equitable access to academic debate opportunities with a focus on students of color and students from other historically underserved communities in New York City to empower the next generation of diverse, informed, and courageous leaders. So we like to ground ourselves in our mission because here at the League, we really focus on the skills that students get out of debate so that they can apply it in their everyday life. So not just the competition aspect of debate, but making sure that they're able to advocate for themselves in a classroom, able to advocate for their families and communities that our students come from. So really making sure that we're honing in on those skills. We're also super proud that we're able to serve 3,760 students this past year, and it's been super impactful to see that as someone who started off when this program was super small with only 100, 200 students, and recently opening up our partnerships to different school districts across the city. So what is debate? So students research and prepare a debate topic, and they always research both sides. So they prepare a pro argument and they prepare a con argument, and then they present their work at the tournament at the end. So the way a tournament usually works is that students sit with a debate judge. So normally people think a debate is in front of hundreds of people. That's not how our debates work. It's typically just 4 students. You're usually in a partnership with another person from your school, and you're going against another set of students, and you're debating the topic that we have for that tournament. And your judge is usually a school teacher or community members that we can find that we train that morning. So some examples of some topics that we've done before. Our first fall topic is about banning cash bail. In the spring, we're doing the pros and cons of zoos. We've done genetic testing topics in the past. We've done climate reparations, banning TikTok. So definitely very interdisciplinary. So we're excited to even partner with a lot of the folks in this call to see how we can make the debate a lot more immersive. So why support debate? So some skills that you get out of debating, and I can attest to this myself. One is public speaking. So of course, something that's important in everyday life, in a job interview, presenting in class, argumentative writing, which is part of the language arts standards, teamwork, since you're working with a partner, note-taking and research, all super important skills that we know that our students are gaining out of debate and have helped them outside of debate as well. This is just a little student testimonial that we like to show. An alum of our program that went to Columbia Secondary is now a freshman at Williams College and started with our program freshman year. So excited to see them soar in college as well. So what do we do to support debate? So our programming is different than traditional debate, where a lot of the time students are kind of just thrown into a debate and expected to kind of independently coach themselves or hire private tutors in order to research a topic. We host professional development for coaches that are already at the schools. So we train the teachers. We know teachers are the folks that know the students the best. So instead of kind of hiring outside folks and putting them in the classroom, we like to train the community members to coach the students. We host the tournament itself for the students, and depending on the type of program, if it's a local district program like what we're using with this grant, it's done at a local school so that all community members in that school can easily access it. And it's typically on a weekday, so kind of like a field trip that they would take for the day. We also host summer camps for our students that we have here in our office. And we also host opportunities for students to gain more background knowledge on topics. So last year we had a topic on space exploration, and we were able to bring 300 students to the Hayden Planetarium, which was super fun, as you could see here on the top picture. And this year we're taking students to the Bronx Zoo since their first topic is on banning zoos or not. So we're expected to take 500 students there. Wish us luck with that. That's going to be super interesting. We're renting a U-Haul. It's gonna be a trip. So we're super excited to continue to provide these experiences for students to better understand the topic. So again, just a little bit more about our statistics. We're glad that we're still growing and still able to make local impact as well. How have we sustained our numbers? Well, a huge shout out to the West Harlem Development Corporation for helping fund this program. They've been longstanding partners of ours, and we're super excited to continue doing this work. Our curriculum is specifically scaffolded to meet the needs of the coaches. So when we have these professional development with the coaches, we ask them what they need. Maybe they need more sentence starters for their speeches, or maybe they need translated materials because some of the students are new to the country. These are things that we do that's kind of outside the norm of what a typical debate organization does. And we're able to provide an inclusive and warm community. So every tournament, a student gets a specific sticker that we give out. In the fall, we like to give out little pumpkins to kind of build like community building in the beginning as well. But yeah, kind of creating an inclusive and warm community, I think, is how we've really sustained our numbers throughout the year. So for our total students from last year, we were able to serve 93 students, primarily from these three schools, Hamilton Grange, Columbia Secondary Middle School, and High School. And we are excited to continue this partnership and expand even more. Another thing that we opened this past year is a high school elective. So we launched a pilot of this last year, thanks to our partnership with New York City Reads. And you'll see kind of at the end, but for our community ask, we'd love to get in contact with the high schools a little bit more directly to see if this is something they'd like to offer as an elective in their schools. We've seen major success with it this past year with those who piloted it last year, and we were able to host a little tournament for them as well. But it's great because it's during the school day. A lot of the times students struggle to have time after school, especially in high school if they have another job opportunity they need to do. But with the high school elective, they're making their debate cases in class. So they come prepared to the tournament and they feel good about it because they're working on it throughout the school year. So we were super excited to meet with Superintendent Davenport last spring to expand our partnership more locally in District 5. So we're hoping to launch that program with Superintendent Davenport and host a principals meeting soon in order to locate coaches and create kind of a district model for District 5 schools. So hopefully our goal is to get to 150 students using this model. We've used this district model in 7 of our other partnerships across the city. We've noticed it works the best because the tournaments stay local, so it's a good entry point to debate instead of having to travel all across the city. So we're hoping that this is going to be a more sustainable model to get more students directly from these the areas that we need to serve. This is just a little bit more about the program that we already talked about, which is the scaffolded curriculum and the professional development that we offer. And this is our next step. So just kind of setting up a principals meeting and working with the superintendent to hopefully get that off the ground running. As folks mentioned before, September is usually a hard time to get a meeting in. So we're hoping that right now it's just a busy time and to have that meeting in the upcoming month. So for our community ask, even though we are working directly with District 5, we would love to have more connections with District 3 or 6 to meet our need for the grant. And then connections with neighboring high schools. I think high schools are usually the hardest groups to get. They're usually the most busy and hard to get attention for. But yeah, it'd be great to see if anyone has connections there. And our goal really is just to expand the West Harlem program specifically using this district model and to get the foot in the door for a lot of students to experience debate and all the skills it has to offer. But that is it for me here. I'm just going to open up for any questions.
Ariel, thank you so much. And Rachel, thank you both for your presentation and for attending. Congratulations on the high school curriculum, because you were talking about, well, not you specifically, Ariel, but you were talking, New York City Urban Debate, you were talking about developing this last year. And so now, for situation, congratulations. I know it's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions? My name is Great for Sony.
Yeah, I don't know how that got up there. That was a joke. Okay, you know something, I think it's hard to overestimate how important this is, Ariel. This is so critical. Now, I have said I worked in CUNY for 40 years, and the last 10 years of working at City with the engineering students, and a lot of them would graduate. Some of the biggest problems they had was communication, okay, and presentation of self. There's the writing that's so critical, but there's a presentation of self and being able to get into an interview and get past that. So, I mean, for me, this is just should not be underestimated how important these skills are. Of course, there's literacy and writing, but presentation, Because as I used to tell the engineering students, the pre-engineering, life in a way is a kind of theater. Okay, and you're always playing a role. And that presentation, I mean, people have walked into jobs for which they had little or no background because of the way they presented themselves and the idea that they can learn. But that was an issue, though, for some of our graduating students from some of the companies, that they weren't able to write as well as they wanted and present, which would mean they can't really get through the ranks. I just think this cannot be overestimated enough. So I just wanted to say that, some benefit of the experience I've had with this over the years.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, if you can't speak up for yourself, it will be a problem. You will reach a point where you can't go further. So you do need to feel a little confident to speak up for yourself. And I know there's that, one of the photos you put up, Ariane, the slideshow, there's a kid and you can tell he's so into it. And that's so fantastic to see because they're getting a skill that you really can't teach. It has to be learned. It has to be learned, kind of tripping and falling and stumbling over your words and embarrassing yourself a little bit. Trust me, I know. And then you just decide that it's enough. It's good enough. But you only do that through consistently pushing yourself. So keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Yes. go ahead.
Can I just add one more thing? I'm just sorry, one quick thing. A lot of the kids, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Just very quickly wanted to say that in many respects, kids in middle-class families or upper class get exposed to this. Okay, they know in a sense they're being taught. But when you have kids that are coming from families that don't have English as a first language, and don't communicate as effectively because of that issue or other issues, that's why this is also so important when we're dealing with that kind of issue as well. So I just, again, want to say this is very important.
My
Mary,
question
go
is this just for high schools? Cause I see that this is really, we have a lot more middle schools than high schools because high schools are citywide, so districts don't have as many high schools. Like we might have 3 in District 6, but we might have 20 middle schools.
Yes. So our programming is 4th to 12th. So we do elementary, 4th and 5th. We kind of call it pre-debate, so kind of giving them the fundamentals of writing and presentation. But actually, a majority of our programming is in middle school. That's actually where most of our schools actually.
Well, I have one a success story in my family from one of my cousin's kids. The family broke up and the kid was, going through a lot of issues, but he did debate and so into debate. The kid is now playing football for SUNY Mooresville.
That's awesome.
And he is like an incredible student and he was so into debate. Like he navigated, when he was going through like a family crisis, debate like kept him like.
It helped him find his
It
voice.
helped him
That's
find,
amazing.
keep his voice.
Good. That's really good.
And it was in District 5.
What position does he play?
I'm not sure. I'll let you know.
I just wanted to say, Ariel, if you're in need of either like scientific expertise on certain topics or want to bring the kids to like learn more about scientific research, if there's a specific, area for one of the topics, definitely reach out. I'm out of the chat now, but I think my email address is still in there. If you
Yes.
want to.
We saved your contact information right away. We're super excited to be partner. Especially with science, it's great to give, when we did the space topic, for example, students obviously haven't been to space, right? So to have those immersive experiences is super important to us as well. But yes, we have your contact information. We're looking forward to possibly partnering.
I want to just put something out there like in topics, because now that you mentioned like environmental, like, we have a lot of issues in our community, on our community board, the oversaturation of services, the redlining of communities of color. And these are real issues that we're grappling on community board, like the placement of mental health clinics, like the treatment of, what is it, the methadone clinics or the injection sites. These are real issues that we as adults in the community are grappling. And I wonder if you could somehow work with us to maybe inject these topics into our youth and give us a new perspective.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. Yes, we definitely want to.
To have them debate hypothetical problems, have them debate real issues that we're dealing with and we have to fight the city on.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Our main goal is to turn their passion into action. So to have that kind of next step and to get that context from the community.
The other thing I just wanted to say that, Ariel, I noticed that you wanted to, Miriam mentioned earlier, the CECs. So we know the CEC 6 has a new superintendent, Martinez, is his name, Martinez. And so that, we can share that information. If you don't have it, we can share the information for 3 and 6.
That'd be super helpful. Thank you.
Renzo Martinez is the new District 6
I
superintendent.
had a sort of procedural question. I'm so impressed with these 3 presentations. I mean, they feel like gems in terms of programming in our community. And I'm wondering, can we invite superintendents to our meetings so that they can have this sort of private curated ear and exchange? Because these are the kind of programs I think we want to highlight. So instead of you going to them, having them come to us might be a gift that we can kind of bridge.
Recently reached out to CEC 6, and that's how I knew that they had a new superintendent, so I'm trying to get it to one.
And that's also part of the reason though that we wanted to have a liaison, because we want to take some of this information back. I don't know if schools are aware of how many programs that are available.
They kind of operate in silos in many ways. The
Yes.
schools.
It's true, and I see that information isn't shared across the board, and it gets lost in translation, so. Anyway, this is a conversation that we've been having, so we're gonna keep
It
having it.
literally takes a human like cross-pollinating, showing up at all these meetings, and it's hard because they might fall on the same night as our meetings, like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's the problem too. Yeah, it's always, oh my God, so many meetings. All right, thank you so much, and very nice to see you and hear from you. Emily, I see you're also part of the team, but you didn't speak, but anyway, hi. Want you to know we're happy to see you too. And please feel free to leave any information in chat and share your presentation if you can. We use it for reference as well when we're talking about what was presented at our meeting. So if you can, if it's proprietary information, understood. But if anybody can share, please do. All right, thank you again. And I think we're gonna move on to our final presentation of the night, which is gonna be Christy. You've been waiting and taking notes all this time. Christy, thank you so much for waiting. And please feel free to unmute yourself. You need co-host permission?
Hi, thank you so
Hi.
much. So as you mentioned, my name is Christy Martinez, and I'm here representing the Harlem Educational Activities Fund. I'm also here with my coworker, who's going to take lead on the conversation, but I'll be here supporting, listening, taking notes, and just being available for any questions that may come up for you all. So thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hi, Shanika, Deirdre, good to see you all.
Time and I purposely ignored it because I was like, oh, this is Christy's moment, and I'm gonna make sure that we acknowledge her because that's what Kai wrote in the email. So,
Yeah.
but please pardon me. All right, but I'm happy to see everybody. Please go ahead and unmute yourself and go for it.
Hi, Shanika and Deirdre, good to see you. And Christy actually is brand new to our organization. We have a brand new position open, Director of Curriculum and Learning. And Christy's role is going to be really outlining our programming, making it stronger, making a through line through all the grades that we serve. And so we're really excited to have her on. And I'm filling in for Kai Bush, who's our Director of Admissions, who just went on paternity leave today. So thank you all so much for joining. And we have some really exciting some exciting news. We've been very busy in reimagining our programming, rebranding our programming. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what all the changes and then what we'd like to see this group help us with. So if you're not familiar, our Harlem Educational Activities Fund is a college access organization aimed at getting kids to and through college after school programming. And so what we've done is now broken it into 3 buckets. One we call HEAF Achieve, which is our general college access and success programming. That's 2 to 3 days a week after school, 4:30 to 6:30, doing math, ELA, and elective courses, really aimed at supplementing their current education, as well as exploring careers, getting them more curious about what their passions are, and then getting them into college. And so that process is really we've focused into mainly the 8th grade and then on. So 8th grade through high school and then through college into graduation. And then the second bucket is HEAF Inspire, which is really about partnerships. So how do we bring HEAF programming into other places that don't necessarily have that programming or need more robust programming? We recently partnered with the Police Athletic League of Harlem, and obviously their expertise is in sports, activities, et cetera, but they don't necessarily have much robust college access programming. So we partnered with them and brought in our college access programming to 20 of their students. And it was a really great success. And so we're looking to do that more. How do we, not, we don't have to work so hard. If we're all doing the same thing, let's work together to do that. And the third bucket is our HEAF community. And that's really around our SEL programming. So all of our grades have social emotional learning an aspect to it, where there's one class where they meet once a week to really talk about those age specific issues that they're dealing with, identity and how do they deal with their peers and all those important pieces as they grow into their adolescence. And what we're trying to do is really open the doors to HEAF into the community, into Harlem. So we're doing lots of things like workshops, a college resource fair in the spring, a wellness retreat. And it's really ways of one, getting our name out there. We're stuck on the 10th floor of the old Hotel Teresa building and no one knows we are there. So we're really trying to get out into the community and being able to share those resources and making them more available. So for instance, on October 28th, we have a parent guardian workshop, all about helping your teen develop healthy relationships. So we want the community to join in on that. We don't necessarily need to have just HEAF parents participate in that. We want more of a community feel. We also have an open house on November 13th. So we'd love any of you that want to see our programming. And most importantly, we're looking for students. We're really having, to be frank, a hard time recruiting and for some reason getting kids in the door. Kai especially spent all summer at NYCHA events, different community events in Harlem, tabling, really trying to get the word out there. So we're looking for students and our admissions process is rolling currently through November. So we'll share all these materials with you in an email so that you have them and you can share them. Yeah, so I think that's us in a nutshell. A lot of changes have happened in the last year, so we're excited about them and rolling out this new programming in this school year. I will open it up to any questions. Christy, if I missed anything, please chime in as well.
Right, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, Christy Martinez, please go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I wanted to say, just to add on to what Stefan said, that as part of my role, although I'm new at the organization, one of the reasons that I was brought in is because part of my concept is to reimagine our curriculum to take more into account what our students and young people want. We are moving into the type of, I guess, time where the creator economy is becoming bigger and bigger as we see the, expansion of platforms like TikTok. And, our young people, they want exposure. They want to put themselves out there. They want to be seen, heard, and felt. And one of the initiatives that I hope to see in the spring by part of my role and our collaborations with amazing organizations like you all is to support students in kind of collaborating and co-creating what it is that they're learning, right? Kind of straying away from the traditional model for school and saying, well, what would you want to learn? Who do you want to be? And kind of being intentional about co-creating with them curriculum that is intentional and compensatory towards their personal education and personal development outside of what they learn in school. So I hope that if that sounded in any way, shape, or form inspirational to you, I've definitely been taking notes, taking some of y'all's information so that we can collaborate specifically in the spring, right? Where we're imagining a robust field trip lineup, right? To bring our students outside of the space as part of that initiative of let's get out of the four walls and see what Harlem and the world has to offer us. So on that note, thank you so much.
Great. Chrissy, are you sure you knew?
You know, I've been around. I'm an old soul.
Okay. Yeah, that was very inspirational. All right.
Thank you.
both very much. Are there any questions?
My son graduated from here.
I didn't know that. Your son.
My son, who's a third-year college student at the
Oh,
University of Vermont.
fantastic. Look at that. You hear that, guys? Look at
Yeah,
that.
give him my best. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't realize
He was
that.
a really problem middle school,
Oh.
and his principal recommended he. And he
Wow.
started, it's great, not for, 6th grade.
That's awesome.
And he did it the whole 6th grade, all of high school.
That's amazing.
Yeah, give him my best. I hope he's doing well.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine that. It's the ones who give moms the trouble, and, you know, they just need.
And guess what he's majoring in? Community centered design.
You're kidding.
The apple didn't fall far.
I was gonna say that. He's like you, creative.
He's
That's great.
constantly calling me, Mom, this organization, that organization. Love that.
But that's like Anita and her children, they all community minded. I love that. I love that.
What's your daughter's gonna be in person?
She asked me about intern, actually. She asked me about interning here, so. Oh, God, we'll see. All right. Does anyone in person have any questions for Heath? Anyone online? Please feel free, and guys, feel free to put your emails in the chat and share that information, but email Deirdre and myself. I put our email in the chat. And again, not just presentations, but specific asks. I try to take all my notes, but if there's specific asks you have or any kind of, I don't know how to say, like a specific writing or pamphlets that you have that are geared towards schools, if you want to share that, let us know. That way, when we're reaching out to superintendents and different principals and assistant principals, we can kind of come with, hey, but even if you don't have that, that's fine. We still want to help you as much as we can. All right. I want to really thank everyone for being here tonight. There's some people online that we don't have slated to speak, like John is always welcome to our meetings. I know he's working on his bookstore, so John, I hope you're well. Yeah, he wants to open a bookstore. Well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Shanika. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm still hard at work on bringing a general interest independent bookstore to Harlem that would carry a wide range of reading materials for adults, young people, children, and have programming across the board in different disciplines and areas, and bring authors to speak, have book clubs for folks who like to gather and read, and just be in general a wonderful community space where people can gather and exchange ideas and talk about books and have open mic nights. And I want to have a storytelling series where folks can get up and tell stories. So just bringing the world of books, more and more and more to, the folks of Harlem and making that happen. So thank you and it's just great just hearing what everybody's doing. I'm kind of in listening mode, just sort of seeing what's out there and what everybody's talking about and collecting emails and addresses. And, please reach out to me. I can put my information in the chat if you want it. But I really just want to sort of find out what people are doing and stay in listening mode and hear what everyone's doing, and think about ways to collaborate down the line. It's not ready yet, but I'm moving toward it, and hopefully really soon we can do things together. So that's where I am.
John, you're really doing here. You're looking for customers. We know you're scouting out customers, so we know what you're doing. But
Well, customers, collaboration, programming, a little bit of all of it.
yeah, everybody at this meeting can enjoy going to a bookstore, having a cafe, open mic night, all of that. So keep it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome, John. Thank you. I have Evan, Thomas Stewart, that name looks familiar, and Tasman Jackson. That's me. Hi, Tasman. All right. I just need that name better. She said Tasman, and I was like, okay. And Thomas, Evan, Did you want to, Thomas Stewart, is that good? You wanna unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group? It's funny because we always ask everybody to sign in, but.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hi, Thomas, yes.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I don't I don't have anything to present. I'm just I'm a staff writer for the Columbia Daily Spectator. So I was just kind of had a listening ear taking notes. There was a lot of great presentations that I'll be able to bring back to the Spectator, and we hopefully maybe we can, shed a little bit even more light outside of these community meetings, but onto our little platform that we have. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, always welcome. And
Can I ask a
Evan,
quick question?
oh, you have a
Inspector?
question for, yes?
Just wondering if you're interested in covering any of the other committees? I know we're trying to get a Columbia presence to all of our committees,
They
and
do.
so.
They do, they do, okay, I didn't know they did, actually.
They used to come pretty regularly to help.
Yeah.
Thomas, do you yourself go to other meetings, or are you more youth, like, focused, how does that go?
Oh, so for the city news section, we kind of split up all of our writers amongst the different sections. So like I'm more like landmarks preservation and youth and ed. Some people are more supposed to cover like the political side.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a part of the CB9 sections, but yes, we're supposed to be split up, and we're also supposed to be attending all the meetings. So that being
All right,
said.
you're welcome, thank you for introducing yourself. Evan, well, I already closed for Evan a few times, I guess they're not going to unmute. However, I am going to close our public session now, barring any other comments or
I was
questions.
just gonna make one other
Yes,
comment.
absolutely.
I am Kendra's colleague at the ASRC. I'm also here as a journalism student, so
Oh,
I
congrats.
go to the
Overachieved, I
Craig
love it.
Newmark, thank you. I go to the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism, which is also under CUNY, so I'm a CUNY employee and a student. The outlet is called the New York City News Service, so I just came to take note on what's happening in the youth education part of the area.
What's the outlet
So
called?
the outlet, it's called New York City News Service. So it's a student-run news outlet under Craig Newmark.
You guys were my classmates when I was there.
right, that's
I was
cool.
an engineer.
The team also does workforce development stuff more for college.
I
do at the
Students,
ASRC, yeah, it's more on the
cool.
college level, Yeah. college, I'd say multi-PhD students and some college students as well.
That's very cool. You know, you mentioned, I was gonna ask a girl's question, but I'll come back to it really quickly. You mentioned data collection, but what are you doing once you have the data? Are you teaching like data analytics, and are you teaching programming languages? Bless you.
Yes, so we do some programming languages in C, Python, Java. And then for the data, we start out with just really basic understanding of like how to do graphing, how to understand a graph, like axes, looking at trends, looking at patterns, looking at different types of
I
graphs,
do, I really like it.
looking at media, like what kind of graphs are shown in media and in social media. You know, now there's a lot of like,
Scattered dot graphs.
Yeah.
I love it.
so it's mostly a lot of basic stuff. And then looking at just like patterns over time and looking for anomalies then. So like, for example, when the sky turned orange, in
Yeah.
2023, and understanding how to see spikes, like those kind of things.
Yeah, it was freakish then. I have a picture of it still, yeah. I was gonna ask you girls, are you writing for paper, or are you just here for class, or?
It's for a class, it's for a journalism class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
from Miriam's alma mater, or second, Miriam, how many degrees? How many degrees?
Well, I have 2 associates
And,
from like fine arts illustration, and then I was a Parsons BFA student, but then I ended up with a bachelor's of science from in liberal arts.
another whole bunch.
And now I'm trying to get, I'm gonna apply for a master's at CUNY.
Go for it.
For science, environmental, because I was really focused on the food studies program at
Good.
in school. I'm very interested in nutrition and food and the environment.
Are you shifting your focus from your business to more nutritional aspects of that? Okay.
Well, I realized I like education.
All right,
And I
yeah.
want to be a teacher.
You just realized that? Guys, I've known her over half a decade. It's been obvious from the beginning, but all right.
Look at either the urban education program or the geography
I'm going
program.
to an open house this Thursday. So CUNY has an open house,
Okay.
in their grad school program this Thursday, the School of Public Health.
Yeah, I was one here, 125th, yeah.
All right, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everyone, I am closing the public session for now. We're gonna have a closed private session because we're going to discuss some district need statements, which I promise you're not missing anything. We need to discuss the district needs for the city for our district for the upcoming fiscal year. And then we vote on it and a bunch of community boards vote on what they think is important. And so I need to get feedback from our team. And then we have some letters to review for elected officials.
That's a big part of what we do. the
So, but
district.
feel free to use the restroom if you need to, if
Thank
not,
you.
just like a take out, but online, everyone, that's not us.
But I.
Yeah.
I was really interested in what you were saying. Would you have a few minutes to chat?
Yeah, maybe we should
You can
get out of
step
there.
out, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I miss
Your program is
being
awesome.
here in person.
Yeah.
Really want to
Where should we go?
Kind of Greenwich Village.
How long?
Yeah, our assignment just kind of started.
You have 5 minutes.
Something like that,
because you have
you
to
know,
look at what they've
community
funded already.
issues, community
But the-
conversations in other places, so we can always do that. I guess understanding that we kind of want to build, especially topic for this is kind of like education, it's kind of building, you know, more available things for children here, like ice skating, I was super interested. We just wanted to, you know, reach out.
Yes, thank you. You can just email me.
Because just because we also.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, it's D.
Okay.
DEIR.
You know, my experience is more uniform.
Be more, boy, 148. At gmail.com. And then I'll do
Data.
Yeah.
the
My name's Avani.
Hi, Avani.
I'm India.
Hi, India.
Yeah, I'll probably be reaching out through my.
Yes.
Oh,
that's fine.
yeah, just an email that I put here. So
Yeah, okay.
Recognize that.
Absolutely.
Too, I don't wanna like. We'll just ask a couple questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Ask
so much.
for time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Look forward to speaking to you. All right, good, thank you.
I was like, I'm not.
Okay.
It's not like, it's not like the.
It's
not.
Three minutes
It's
ago.
not like hard that work. So now we have.
But 3 hours ago.
Well, it's the community.
You going to last one?
I need your specific part from redlining, mental health services, and displaced and stuff like that, and then just like how outreach to communities.
You watch some of those YouTube videos on how to.
Is this just for the board members? I'm wondering.
I'm still talking. Hi, John.
Oh, Deidre, hi. You can hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. Is this part just for the board members?
Studying just for that.
What were you saying?
I'm here with.
Is this part just for the board members?
Yeah, this part is just our board. That's what I'm for.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right then. All right. I'll see you later then.
Letters.
All right, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Every blocks will
Did we
have.
sign off?
I don't know.
I don't want her to.
No.
Like, you really see.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody. Take care, Shanika.
Hi, John.
Hi. Bye. See you later.
See you later.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna, our data doesn't substantiate that we have. the most, like Staten Island has higher issues, but they have.
I did have one question.
So,
This is
you know,
really
it's
random,
like
but
not in my
I'm from
backyard
Colorado, so I
kind
know
of
what
thing,
SUNY
and
stands for, but I don't know
they
what
just
CUNY
throw
stands for.
City
What is it?
University.
City University, instead of State University. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Also like City College is one a
Okay.
couple of years ago. Hunter, Freeman College, Brooklyn College, Columbia College. No, it's like, and then also year associate programs, LaGuardia Community College. Manhattan Community College.
No, you're still. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
I was in Colorado from the state.
Okay.
I went to school where.
Oh my God, I'm from Boulder. That's really funny. Oh, yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Gonna get ready to wrap it up, guys. So sorry. I'm trying to rush.
Thank you.
Yeah. We don't want to be here, so.
That's a really great thought, and I emailed you about it.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'll look about. Okay, yeah, I need to look at myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of.
They're so good. Way uptown.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, all the way down.
Yeah, you come to the house.
You all have
Yeah.
and I'll use the.
Okay.
You have access to the extreme.